So visual people, it is easier to do past life therapy, regression therapy. Why? Because they can visualize. For kinesthetic, it is only the feeling that they go through. So it is tougher for taking them to that journey. But since I was partially visual, so I could visualize, and I saw that I was hit by a car and I had an accident which hit me on my knee, and I fell down on the ground with a stone. My back hit the stone.
So earlier when you started, you said you can gauge people by looking at it, and usually you are right about it. So can you gauge something about me and tell me openly and honestly what did you gauge?
To give you an example, I had a client who had a fear of water. So she would never go for swimming. She will never go into river. She will never go into ocean. उसमें होता क्या है कि she takes Reiki classes, but she is hesitant asking for money for those classes. So she had approached me and asked that this is what my problem is. Can it be resolved? I said, we'll try. And to erase all bad memories, we go to the root cause of the problem where it actually had started. That life. The life where the problem had actually started. So there are 3 lives we go in 3 hours time.
Soul travels from one life to another, right? The body does not travel, right? So see, all comes that.
Really what it is. Normally, I'll explain what PLR is. So it becomes easier for viewers also to understand what PLR is. When we take clients through a session, at times, client feels jittery. Client becomes nervous. At that time, we make them as an observer. We don't push them to go through that trauma again. So we make them an observer during this session. They visualize what is going on. So the trauma effects are not passed on again. They don't go through the trauma again and again. We take them through the death moment also. They see their death. In this entire process, they see their death of that life. It's a part of the process only. I have to take him to the death, and then only I can heal him. Otherwise, I cannot. Say, suppose, while doing the session, I will ask, Sudhir, tell me what's your bank account? Will you tell me? No. Your conscious mind say, wrong question. Immediately, your conscious mind will come into picture. She did what she wanted to do, and she was from a very rich family. And she could visualize that she was in a mahal, and that opened the entire box. Then I simply healed her, came out, and today also she calls me up for consultations and says, you have changed. The first day when I called her back on the next day, said, Manish ji, अच्छा लग रहा है, लेकिन अभी भी बहुत सारे जिंदगी में issues हैं जो उलझे हुए हैं.
Hello everybody, this is Sudeep here. Welcome back to my channel once again. In today's podcast, I am talking to Dr. Manish Sinha, who is a past life regression therapist and a coach. In today's podcast, I talked to him about past life regression. It was a very intense and interesting podcast that I recorded for you all. I do hope you like the conversation and watch this podcast till the end. But before we get started, I just have one request for you. Please do like, share, and subscribe to my channel so that I get the motivation to keep bringing on such podcasts for you. So having said that, let's get started. Enjoy the show. So hello Manish sir, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Sudhir, for inviting me for this podcast. I welcome you to this podcast, and I'm doing fine. And it is a great pleasure to be on your podcast. I had never thought that somebody on this particular subject will call me for a podcast, but definitely it's an honor for me to be on your podcast.
Sir, there is a lot of interest, personally, at least from my side, to know about all this? Because I mean, right? Everybody wants to know where we came from. So I mean, in this life, most probably previous lives, uh, like punarjanam hai ki nahi, matlab all those kinds of things. So yeah, definitely a lot of interest. So, sir,
Interest. Yeah.
so, sir, as we do customarily at the beginning of the podcast, if the guest is a new guest, which you are, so if you can quickly introduce yourself about your background as to where you are coming from, maybe start from little bit from your childhood, where you interested in this kind of a topic from your childhood, or some incident happened and you got interested into this topic and all those sort of things, your educational background and all those things, if possible.
Okay. To start with, I am born and brought up in Jharkhand. So I did my schooling from St. Xavier's Hazaribagh. Then did my engineering from Bangalore and doctorate in management studies. Uh, Leadership and human psychology has always been an interesting subject for me. And I had learned a lot of things by watching people. And looking at a person, probably everybody gets an intuition that how this person looks like or how this person is. And to a larger extent, that intuition actually, more or less 90%, I'm correct in assessing a person by the first look at the person. So that was something which came at a later stage. I realized, okay, this is something which is there. I worked in an private sector for 30 years. So I was taking care as a vice president for Eastern region in India. Then in 2017, our organization closed. So I was without a job. So I started teaching management. Then the chalk dust actually started taking toll on me. So I left that. Then again joined service. In between, I started some entrepreneurial journey also, which could not be a successful journey for me. So then I took job, then came back again. When my father expired, I shifted to my hometown and then started my journey as a trainer. So I am a certified master trainer, NLP trainer, and I normally take working professionals, I guide them through. So that was my basic trade. And for 2 years from 2019 to 2023, I actually was a business consultant for some SME here in Bihar. Then I thought it's too much for me to actually get into that and all board meetings and other things happening and taking team through. So I thought I better do it on my own. So I started my journey on my own. So I only take referral clients from me. Since I work 30 years, I have clients who actually approach me and refer to their friends and other people to me. So I do that. Basically take them. Actually a life transformational coach. So what I earned in 30 years, that's what I teach them. So my experiences I share with them and I guide them through that this is how you can proceed in a life, make a better life when you retire. So ultimate goal is how much corpus do you build at the time you leave your job? That is what is important. I learned it very smartly because I did investments in between during my job time. When I didn't have a job, our company actually shut down in 2017. My children were studying actually. My son was doing engineering, daughter was in ninth. So you can understand the money angle into it. But by God's grace, I had done some smart savings because of I could teach them, help them learn and grow in their career. So that's how life spanned and I never had shortage of money to live my life. So I teach that basically to them that this is what you should do. Even if you have to certainly cut down your expenses, do it, but save it. That is what is important. For your lifestyle that you live at this particular moment, you should continue once you retire in your life. So that's how. And PLR session I got into because a lot of these people are stressed now and they need some stress busters to heal them out. I do not use complete PLR therapy on that. but I do de-stress them with certain techniques. So it is the initial part of the journey of PLR therapy. I had an incident in 2010. I had a back pain, and later in 2017, I had my knee pain. And despite taking medications, visiting doctors, I couldn't get them healed. Means if I take medicine, I'm perfectly fine. Doing exercise, I'm perfectly fine. The day I leave it, it is. Means I couldn't get off bed and walk few steps, straightening my back. So I had to bow down and walk some steps to straighten myself. That was my stage. Then businesses which fail, something I was going through some YouTube session, I guess, watching some YouTube where I actually got into, and then I thought, could be it something like past life, which is there and actually stopping, or the my karma. So all those things, feelings start coming in. Then I took a session on PLR for my pain, and today, probably 3 years down the line, I'm walking perfectly all right, not limping with my knees, and I walk straight. My back pain has gone. So that actually built some belief system in past life regression therapy, that there is something which is there. And I could see while going through, I am partially extremely visual. So there are two kinds of people. Either they are visual or they are kinesthetic. So visual people, it is easier to do past life therapy, regression therapy. Why? Because they can visualize. For kinesthetic, it is only the feeling that they go through. So it is tougher for taking them to that journey. But since I was partially visual, so I could visualize, and I saw that I was hit by a car and I had an accident which hit me on my knee, and I fell down on the ground with a stone. My back hit the stone. So I could know the root cause, and then the healing process started, and that's how it went all through. So probably I've explained what past life therapy is all about, regression therapy is all about.
Yeah, very interesting. So earlier when you started, you said you can gauge people by looking at it, and usually you are right about it. So can you gauge something about me and tell me openly and honestly what did you gauge?
Okay, I've not thought that way, because since you approached me, it becomes my thought process at this point of time would become slightly partial, right? But then I can definitely gauge you are an honest person, and you are true to your heart, right? So if a person is honest and true to heart, it is very easy to open up with them. Like we are talking together, right? So just because you have been open enough and to discuss, we are talking. And also somewhere down the line, it is karma, which actually attaches us to that. Somewhere down means going through past life regression therapy course and getting certified and having an experience. I can very well say it is the karma which actually attaches to whom we actually talk to or whom we get aligned to. That's how life is all about. And it's all about soul. In Indian pretext, if we say, we call it karma, and in Western world, they call it soul. That's the only difference in that.
Right. So interesting thing that you brought out, that when you yourself did a PLR on yourself, you saw that you got hit by a car in your past life and all that. So the question here is that it was our soul travels from one life to another, right? The body does not travel, right? So see, all comes that.
Really what it is. Normally, I'll explain what PLR is. So it becomes easier for viewers also to understand what PLR is. So past life regression therapy is nothing but it's a travel through your subconscious mind. So what we do is we actually take people in trance. They remain in subconscious, and their conscious mind is also active. Means we have two parts of brain, conscious and subconscious. Conscious mind, we call it as the gatekeeper of the subconscious, so that it does not allow anything else to go. Whatever conscious mind judges which is right for that particular client has to go into the subconscious mind. So it's a deep meditation state where you are half awake, right? You're not in deep sleep or you're not in fast sleep. जैसे हम लोग बोलते हैं ना, जमाई लेना, जमाई लेते हैं. सोने के पहले एक जमाए लेते हैं, यौन करते हैं. तो दैट इज व्हाट इज वी कॉल इट एज trance state in which I can take you through different phases of life and different lives actually. And each life we go through. Uh, Let me be clear here that as a therapist, मैं किसी का सबकॉन्शियस माइंड देख नहीं सकता हूं. मैं किसी का सबकॉन्शियस माइंड रीड नहीं कर सकता हूं. सो पीपल हैव अ नोशन, एक थोड़ा सा उनको लगता है कि कहीं ये मेरा दिमाग नहीं पढ़ ले, कुछ चीजें मेरे दिमाग से नहीं निकाल दे. ऑल दोज थिंग्स दे थिंक अबाउट. बट आइडियली इट इज अ सेफ प्रोसेस जिसमें मैं ना तो किसी का दिमाग, अपने क्लाइंट का दिमाग देख सकता हूँ ना पढ़ सकता हूँ. जो उस सेशन के दौरान जो विजुअलाइज करते हैं, जो बताते हैं, हम उसी प्रोसेस के थ्रू उनसे एक डिफरेंट क्वेश्चन, सेट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस पूछते जाते हैं और उसके बाद फिर वो उनको वो रियलाइजेशन होता है. टू दैट स्टेज वेयर दे एक्चुअली विजुअलाइज और फील दैट यस दिस हैज हैपेंड इन देयर पास्ट लाइफ. तो दिस इज द प्रोसेस, इट्स अ सेफ प्रोसेस. और एक और नोशन होता है लोगों की कि मैं सेशन में गया और मैं अटक गया, क्या होगा, मैं तो पास्ट लाइफ में ही रह गया. इट डजंट हैपन दैट वे, क्योंकि जो कॉन्शियस माइंड और सबकॉन्शियस माइंड चूंकि दोनों एक्टिव होते हैं, इफ यू डू नॉट लिसन माई वॉइस फॉर 5 seconds or 10 seconds, your conscious mind will automatically take over your subconscious mind. So that's how it happens. Only thing is some heaviness will be there, which with a half a glass of lukewarm water, you drink it, it becomes perfectly all right. Then there's a healing guided meditation which you can go through and it heals you out. So that is what the entire process is. Completely safe, nothing to worry about. कभी कभी होता है in sessions, probably you might ask later in the question that people may look at कि बहुत ही जटिल, जिसको हम बोलते हैं बहुत टफ होता है. कोई कोई लोग अपने पास्ट लाइफ में ही रहना चाहते हैं. दे डोंट वांट टू कम आउट फ्रॉम देयर बिकॉज दैट मेक्स देम मच मोर कंफर्टेबल देयर, फील मेक देम कंफर्टेबल. सो दोज आर टफ सिचुएशंस वी डील विद एट टाइम्स, नॉट मैक्सिमम टाइम्स बट very few cases. Means I have come across only one such case so far. और वैसे इसमें क्या होता है कि जो लोग एक पैटर्न होता है जो हम लोग देखते हैं, जैसे आपके लाइफ में रिपीटेड पैटर्न्स हम लोग बोलते हैं. जैसे मेरे केस में रिपीटेड बिजनेस फेलियर एक हो गया, इज अ पैटर्न. देयर कुड बी पैटर्न इन रिलेशनशिप्स ऑफ अ पर्सन of getting married and getting divorced every time he marries. So that's a pattern. So people, different kinds of patterns. Okay, then there is fear of failure is another part जहाँ पे लोगों को initiative लेने में दिक्कत होती है. Then fear of water, fear of height. This, then कभी कभी लोग लिफ्ट में भी नहीं जाते हैं. Fear of flight, people don't climb a flight. All those are there. So these can be healed through past life regression therapy or hypno heal, whichever it is. But I prefer past life regression therapy because it takes you through the entire process and cleans or release all those blockages which are there in your past life. ऐसे बहुत बार होते हैं. जैसे लोग फाइनेंशियल एबंडेंस के लिए भी करते हैं, मतलब फाइनेंशियल ब्लॉकेज हम लोग बोलते हैं. I had a client, she is a Reiki therapist. I'll not name individuals, I'll just say cases because that is very, we keep confidential of our clients.
Yeah, absolutely.
वो उसमें होता क्या है कि she takes Reiki classes, but she's hesitant asking for money for those classes. So she had approached me and asked that this is what my problem is, can it be resolved? I said, we'll try. See, why? Because when we do sessions with clients, it is karma. And also there are certain astrological interventions which do not allow you to do. Like हम लोग बोलते हैं, एक क्लाइंट थे हमारे, उनका मैंने किया, इट वाजंट सक्सेसफुल एक्चुअली. तो हमने उनको बोला कि आप अपना एक बार एस्ट्रोलॉजिकल चार्ट दिखवा लीजिए. देन ही केम बैक एंड सेड यस यू आर करेक्ट, राहु और शनि एक साथ बैठे हुए हैं अभी, तो मैं कुछ नहीं कर सकता. तो नथिंग कुड हैपन एट दैट केस. कभी कभी एक्सेप्शनल केसेस होते हैं, बट टू माई जर्नी 99% केसेस आई बीन एबल टू रिजॉल्व. तो उनका जब मैं डीलिंग कर रहा था तो शी कुड विजुअलाइज दैट इन अ चाइल्डहुड शी यूज्ड टू स्टे विथ हियर पेरेंटल ग्रैंडपेरेंट्स, and whenever some money issue used to come, her maternal grandfather used to say no to it. So there was a correlation on that, and an incident happened when she participated in a school event, and she stood first and she asked for the photographs of those events to buy those photographs of those events. His father said, I'll buy only one photograph in which you have stood first. Rest I will not pay. So that is how it came to her. And later, 1 week later, when I asked her that about the feedback, she said, perfectly all right, sir. I never realized. But the next day itself, I was able to tell one of my clients that for the sessions that I take, there are certain charges to it. And he readily agreed. So, miracle. For us, it is like helping other people. If we can help, definitely why not? There are so much issues in people life. Even we have issues in our life. But if that can do wonders, why not? Help them relax, tell them better thing. Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. So the incident you just said about that Reiki healer, right? Her father refused to buy the photographs. Were this in the same life or in past life?
Past life.
Okay.
This was a past life. And so her paternal grandfather was in army in past life, was very rich, very wealthy, but still he refused. So somewhere down the line, that blockage had happened that if I ask money, I'll not get.
Oh, okay.
So that was hampering her in her current life. So that was the blockage over there. So we go through this therapy session, heal it out, release all those blockages, and that's how it actually happened.
And this can all happen online, or you have to be physically present in front of you?
Not necessarily. I do it only online. I don't do any physical sessions. There are reasons behind it. I don't think we should discuss on the over here, but lot of as a human being, when we go outside, we get attached to many bodies, which could be positive, which could be negative. So when we come back home, we carry them along. So when we do physical sessions, a lot of precaution has to be taken. A lot of cleansing has to happen of the place. Because if you do multiple sessions of people, then different people come with different karmas, different negative vibe, different positive vibe. All those has to be wiped off. So it is better we do it online because all are safe. When we do such sessions, we put ourselves under a cover so that we do not get affected. And we ask the client also to pray to their God to cover them with protection. It is very important so that negative energies do not go inside there when the session is actually going on. Very important. And before we take session, we also do a lot of cleansing of ourselves. Why? Because there's a saying called energy follows energy. So any high energy follows some energy, means you understand when we do session, we do it from heart so that the positive energy goes. So no negative energies are there. So we ground ourselves before we take any session. Very important.
Yeah. So as you were speaking, I suddenly remembered that I read a couple of books from a gentleman named US guy, Michael Newton. I don't know if you have heard about him.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah, he wrote books about the situation where a soul is spending time in between lives, right? Somewhere. I don't know where it is, but do you have any thoughts around that? Like,
That's beyond, we call it as beyond life regression, right? So once you die, you go into a space, a spirit world you go, and you there. It is beyond life regression. I don't do beyond life regression or future pacing, we call it. Why? Because my inner feeling says that future pacing is not always 100% correct. Though we do that, we show them that in 2026 we'll reach this position. You are in this position, and this is how you feel about that particular position. Do you see yourself in that position? So it's actually telling them this is how your events will happen. And a lot of things will be there for ASCII recording readings. You would see many advertisements coming on. But where they say that they can visualize their records as how they are, I don't think, means I have nothing to comment on that. That's their practice. But I have visualized it, gone through it, but not every time one can be successful.
Okay. Yeah. So it is possible, but how far that is?
It's possible. It's possible. It's possible. People do. People do. I don't do. I am very clear. I will not do any future progression, or I will not do beyond life regression. That's a principally, to me, I think it is not correct. So I don't do that. I can do that, but I don't do that.
Okay. So I found that principle, that gentleman wrote that book, that what happens in between lives, pretty interesting. That how soul spends time in spirit world or whatever that is. We don't know what that is. So that was also interesting. So
Yeah. Continue, please.
Okay. So coming back to our podcast, right? Obviously, you have encountered a lot of interesting stories. So how far back has any of your clients traveled? I mean, what is the maximum extent someone can travel, or you have seen someone travel back?
See, normally when we do past life regression therapy, I call it PLRT, not PLR, because ultimately the goal is to heal the person. So therapy goes along with it. We do 3 lives of a person, not beyond that, because it takes time, and it is not that it can happen in an hour's time. One session of 3 lives takes somewhere around 2.5 to 3 hours. And beyond 3 hours, it is difficult to maintain trance. And beyond 3 hours, it is difficult for us to speak also. Because we continuously keep asking questions, keep giving directions. So it takes a lot of energy from us also. So beyond 3 hours, it is difficult for client to maintain trance. So we only do 3 sessions. But yes, how we heal it is, we go into the recent past, that is the previous life, and the next previous life. And to erase all bad memories, we go to the root cause of the problem where it actually had started, that life, the life where the problem had actually started. So there are 3 lives we go in 3 hours time. And any issue that is there, we have an intake form, right? We give this to client to fill that intake form. Based on that intake form, we have a pre-session. So if somebody wants to go through a past life regression therapy, it has 2 different categories altogether. First is pre-session, and the second is the therapy session. Now, in the pre-session, what happens is the intake form we receive. Based on that, we ask certain questions, certain clarifications from the client. We take downloads from client, and at times it goes to 1.5 hours also, because they want to download everything they want to say, because they want to get themselves healed. And we get down to one particular intent, that what is the critical intent that you want to get resolved in this life first. So intent, if a person has 4 intents, he will have to prioritize which is the first intent that he will go through. So the intent which he assigns the first priority, we take that as first. One session, only one intent we do. Though it is said that subconscious mind can handle multiple actions all at once. Like say you would have seen people writing with both hands together. They write from left hand and right hand together. So they are multitasking one activity. Subconscious mind also does multitasking. But to do a proper healing and the result to be seen, one task at a time. Like conscious mind does only one task at a time. Concentrate on only one task. Similarly, we do only one task. And it takes somewhere around 21 days to properly settle down in that particular healing of that particular intent. So that's how it goes. There are people who might be have somewhere around 200, 300, 400 lives. So our subconscious mind stores all those memories in the form of emotions. So those emotions, when they get blocked, they need to be released to relief of the current age. I'll give you an example. I had a client who had a fear of water. So she would never go for swimming. She will never go into river. She will never go into ocean. Uh, she will say, "I'll drown." So when we went into the past life, we came to know that she was a male doing fishing with a friend, and his friend actually fell down from the boat into a lake, and he tried to save him. While saving, the boat overturned and he drowned. He clearly showed that the waters are going inside his nose and is filling his brain. And then he suddenly died, and he said, "I didn't want to die this death, and not at this time." So somewhere down the line, that actually impacted her not going into water. And this life, she's a female. So souls change gender also. Not necessarily that they are of the same gender all throughout their past lives. So when we healed her, she was able to swim. She could, means the fear of water had gone. So that's how life is.
So, what happens if you are not able to find the root cause within the past 3 lives? Is it possible or no? You will find that.
It's possible to, 3 lives are sufficient enough to go that. And we do repetitive questions on that. We check from client and we ask questions on that, whether they are visualizing or not, whether they are able to see or not, or feel or not. So if a client is kinesthetic, feeling has to be there. He will not be able to visualize. So when we take a PLR session, before that, we send them a guided meditation where they have to go through that guided meditation. There's a gap between pre-session and this actual session of therapy. So somewhere around 3 to 4 days, they have to go through that guided meditation, and they have to give a feedback that this is what they felt before and what they felt after listening to the guided meditation. So there are certain visualization patterns which we send across guided meditation. And based on that, we know that, okay, the person is visual or the person is kinesthetic. So the treatment, actually, the questionnaires that we ask actually varies from client to client based on their intent and based on whether they are visual or kinesthetic. And kinesthetic can be done. Kinesthetic people can also undergo past life regression therapy. A different method is used for kinesthetic people, and for visualization, different method is used. So it is, to your answer to your question, I would say it is very much possible. So far, in the first life itself, majority of the cases I've been able to see what is the root cause of the problem. Few cases, yes, I had to go to the origin of the case where it actually started. So it happens that way. So since I am hitting the last button at the initiation of that cause, the life stage at which it initiated, so that life they will definitely see.
Okay. So now coming to the healing part, right? Once you have identified the cause, it is obviously coming from the subconscious mind. So in the same session, you reprogram the subconscious mind so that fear of water, let's say,
we don't reprogram. We only try to remove the blockages that are there. Reprogramming is hypnotherapy, where you hammer affirmations into the client's brain. But here we do not do any affirmations. What we do is, they might have a curse in their previous life. They would have some promises in their previous life which they would have not fulfilled, or they would have taken some loan from some people and have not paid back in that particular life. They could have, say, some obligations to someone which they had not fulfilled, or they would have treated a person differently in the previous life. So all those things are there. So what we do is we release these emotions, these blockages, stating that once they repeat, then we repeat again back, and then we release them. There are certain techniques with which we release those things, in the form of a smoke or in the form of putting them into a black box and then releasing them. So that's how the healing process. Then there's a forgiveness also, that the souls whom you have treated bad and souls who have treated you back. So we get them to forgive those to whom they have done bad and seek forgiveness from people from whom they have actually done bad to those people. So that's how the forgiveness happens. And there's a ceremony called cutting cord ceremony. So we do cutting cord ceremony. The souls get detached and they depart in the inner world, upper healing world. So that's how the complete therapy session goes. And then we bring them back to the consciousness. And that's how, over a period of 7 days, we take a feedback, then 14 days, then 21 days. And so far, people have said positive only. There's no negative. The challenge remains is that how better you are able to take the person into the trance or in the deep meditative state. So that is where the crux of the entire journey starts.
So the entire healing also happens in the same session. So after the session, what they do. To try to practice anything for 7 days, for 41 days, I'm not for 14 days or 21.
See, I'll tell you, each life that we go into, we do healing of each life. You can't do healing at one go for all the lives, because each life will have their own karmas and blockages, which probably the client would have seen or could not have seen or could not have felt, or he would not have felt anything at all. So we do healing for all the lives that we go through. It's a process. I can't leave it. That is why it takes time. So at times in the first life, people will not say, so we keep asking questions, keep taking them into trance, keep asking questions. And when you find there's nothing else to know in that, we move to the next life. And then again, ask different questions on that, where their visualization is going, anything is coming up or not. And then in the last life, we go, specifically last life is very important. We have to go in the last life where the actual problem originated from. That life is very important. Because if you do not cleanse that, it may reoccur. My understanding says it may reoccur. So far, since I've followed the process, so far nothing has come so far. But if people leave that process, probably it may come back again. That is very important. So the origination of the root cause has to be healed. It has to be released from his subconscious or her subconscious mind, client subconscious mind. Very important.
So, bit of philosophical question, right? As per the Hindu philosophy, right, we are supposed to bear the fruits of our karma, right, from past life and all that, right?
Yes.
So, if I have done something bad, I should bear the fruit of that bad karma in this life or maybe next life or whatever, right? It's a continuous flow. If I have done something good, I should get good results out of it, either in this life, next life, wherever. So this
Right.
ELR, what you are essentially saying, again, it's a theoretical or maybe a like bit of philosophical question. So are we trying to override that karma that I suffered in the last life because of some back karma?
We don't override karmas. Karmas cannot be overwritten. That karma remains. What we are doing is that emotional blockage that they have in their subconscious mind, we are trying to release that from the subconscious mind. That's how. Karma remains. Karma, you cannot override karmas. That is what you have done, is there, is written, scripted. You cannot override karma. My understanding on the philosophical part is that I cannot override karma. I have no authority to override karma. How can I override karma of somebody else? I cannot. I cannot change his karma because I do not have access to anything. So what I do is to release those objections, you call it, or you call it blockages, emotional blockages, which are there. Means I've seen people during this session crying. Means I have also cried during my session. Means I could relate that I had seen in my past life, I've seen a person who was uncle in this life of mine. And I cried seeing him. So those emotional bursts also come at times. So these are there in this. Means you will feel that.
I mean, how do you recognize the same person in different life? Do they have the same look and feel, or
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Means we ask those questions. Do you recognize him? Who is that person in your life in this time? And they are able to tell. I do not know how, but they recognize that this person, I know him, and he is currently this person in current life.
okay, it may be something to do with the soul or something, soul to soul relation?
Yes, definitely. Yes, definitely soul. See, we say no, any soul who comes into a particular womb, they decide which womb they have to go. They decide the lifespan they are going to spend on this earth. When they decide their death, they decide which activity they are going to do in this earth. What are they going to do on earth once they are born? So they decide everything before entering the womb. So a session I had taken in the womb regression, when we went into the womb regression, the client was very clear that he current state of his womb was 7 months, and he entered the womb in the 4th month. They say that also. This around 60% of the people whom I have taken womb regression, they have confirmed, clearly said that which month they have entered the womb and what was their current state when I am actually asking that question, in which month they are. We do not ask year, we do not ask dates, because of certain precautions we have to take in this therapy.
Okay. So there is a saying that, I mean, I don't know how far right or wrong, that we choose the life we want to lead. Is that correct?
That's what I said. Because as a soul, I will decide what I will do in this life of mine when I come to earth. I have my plan already made that I have to do this. Probably in the past life, I would have missed doing that. So I decide, okay, these are my failures of that life. I'll rectify them in this life. So that's how they choose.
Right. So this is all about gathering experiences and moving fast towards that moksha, right? That we all are aiming for at some point, maybe as a soul. Is that correct?
Not necessarily. I would not say it's moksha, but definitely why people approach us, right? So people approach us because of the current life struggles that they have. So this is where people come to us. So what they have decided in their previous life, they will come to us stating that this is what their problems are. And this is what they have been facing for such a long time, or this is the pattern that they are gone through. So why they want to get relieved of that. So it is not, I'll not call it moksha. It's basically getting relieved of their current challenges that they face in life. I'd put it that way. Moksha, it's something.
So in order to lead a better life, maybe.
Yes, a better life. Current, where they are present in the present life, they want to live a better life. Okay. Relationship issues. I have a very bad relationship with my husband, my sisters, my brothers. Those issues come very frequently. And today, majority of the cases comes on financial blockage, where earning is less, expenses are more. Relationship issues are very high currently, where people have a very bad relationship with their husband. They live separately and want to be together. These are very high currently. There are many people who are stressed because of their job. Means if you talk of means there's another case of a leader in an organization who had approached me for NLP. He was very arrogant. I asked him, "Have you gone through MBTI, Mayors and Bears, uh, where we classify whether he is an INTJ or INFJ or he is a dictatorial type, authoritarian, I would say, or dictatorial in normal terms we say." So he said, it is hampering my family life also now. So are there any NLP techniques with which I can actually improve myself? Then we started discussing and I said, why don't you go through this past life regression?
If you can elaborate on that NLP part for our viewers one more time.
Okay, it is neuro-linguistic programming, right? Where we work on the subconscious mind again, right? So this is another a chapter where we give affirmations to clients to feed it into their subconscious mind or divert attention from one thing to another for his betterment. So it's also work on the subconscious mind. So when we discussed on this, coming back to his session, when we discussed on this, I said, you should go through this. Let us see. You try it. If it helps you, why not? And I'm there for NLP. So he said, okay, take me through this session. We went through this session and today he is perfectly all right. His anger has come down. He is thinking more logically. He is listening to his people. His employee turnovers has reduced. So remarkable changes. He said, what did you do? I said, I did nothing. You only did everything. So we only released those blockages. And his past life, he was a king and he ruled his kingdom by threatening people.
Oh, wow.
So, Miss, for us also, it's a revelation actually. We learn a lot of things from our clients. How people behave currently, how people were there in their past lives. It's astonishing. If those results, when you look at it, it amazes you.
Right. So take a cue from that, right? What is the single most surprising discovery that you have made while guiding someone through? I mean, you were also astonished that ऐसा भी हो सकता है क्या?
See, there are certain aspects, I think this can only be when you actually correlate with some verified. You can verify those credentials, right? That only could surprise you. Otherwise, these are just stories. One can say that, okay, these are only stories that one is actually telling about. I had a client where he actually told me a historical place which is not widely known. And he said he died because of the cannon's blast. And while tracing back into the history, I could find the mention of that particular incident on net. That actually means, see, I'm an engineer, right? And a management graduate or a doctorate in management. To believe these things initially was, and going through NLP, being a certified NLP practitioner, it all made me more logical that ये सब सबकॉन्शियस माइंड तो हम लोग ऐसे ही खेलते हैं NLP में, तो ये क्या है? But that my going through PLR session and this incident, this was my first case, by the way, which I took in my life, and it changed my life altogether and my belief system in this past life regression therapy. So that was amazing for me. Means I still remember first case. Why? Because this was something I thought I'll verify it. It is verifiable. Let me see and verify it. And we could verify that.
Wow. So that made you believe in this thing, right? And a lot of people have started also believing in this because maybe 10, 20 years down the earlier, people would not believe. Now there is certain amount of realization and opening of eyes among people, section of people who are beginning to realize that yes, there is something called karma, there is something called dharma, there is something called past lives, souls, and everything. So, do you see this on the rise?
See, people who are struggling in their life have challenges, a lot of challenges in their life. And people who come to us for session are people who know what PLR is. They search through net, they search through YouTube and come to know about it. So they're already aware of it, what it is, and they know what they want from their life. Definitely, I would say not. It's going to rise. Definitely, it is going to rise. One thing which PLR does is, I would say, de-stresses people a lot. Even if it does not resolve the problem, may not resolve the problem at one go, but then it does. At times, you have to take multiple sessions of a client for the same intention to actually get it resolved. Means I had a client and she had hatred for her brother's brother. So they had certain incident in his life where they threw them. His elder brother actually threw them out of their house, and he would actually abuse them whenever he would see them. And while going through the session, during the forgiveness time, she said, I'll not forgive him. And it took me 4 sessions to actually convince her to forgive him. So it happens at times that it is so, they become so rigid inside that they don't want to forgive. This could be in her previous life, she was a sepoy in an army, and his brother's brother was his boss, and he threw her out of the window. She went down from the top of a house and she died there, and she could not forgive. And she said, I want to take revenge from him. So at times we also ask clients in such situations when they want to take revenge, we ask clients, okay, you can just slap him or you can just push him to get the emotions out from the client. That burst actually has to be, and the emotion has to be reduced or subdued at that point of time, because then we cannot proceed further unless she does that activity. So it is very important. It depends on case to case how it actually goes. And I remember I had to take 4 sessions to her to get her purely 100% cured on that. Until on the last session, 4th session, she said, yes, I can forgive him. So we ask that, yes, have you forgiven him or not? Or would you like to forgive him if such situation comes? And they say. And in the lives when we take PLR session, we ask client before we go to the next session, do you want to continue and go to the next session or not? So it is very important during the time also to ask the client whether they would like to go into the next life or not.
Okay. So, when you take people into your past life, how does the place affect that person? I mean, is it always that if you, like, for example, take me back in my past life, is it that always that I am born in India, that I will be born in India, or I am born in some other country, some other circumstances? Is it possible? Everything?
Yes, it happens. There are many clients who in the previous life had been in some other country. We ask skin color, we ask hair color, their name, what was their name in the past life. So all those things, and they are able to visualize and tell us.
Okay, so in that respect, right?
Yeah.
What is the time difference, maximum time difference you have experienced between 2 lives? Like, for example, if you take me to my past life, right? Maybe I died somewhere around 1700, 1600s or 1500s, right? So is there a time difference? I mean, average time difference between births?
As a therapist, when we are doing past life regression of a particular intent, we do not ask for time. We only ask max to max as a therapist, as a rule book. We only ask, if they are inside a room, we ask, are you seeing a calendar? That's it. No dates, no year, nothing. It becomes a
Calendar in the past life or this life?
calendar in the past life.
Okay.
We don't ask date, we don't ask year. If you ask, then as a therapist, we are in trouble.
But why is that? If you don't mind explaining.
Uh, at times people get stuck into that. We'll back. As I said, there are people who go into their life in the past life and they don't want to come out of that. They feel comfortable there.
Oh, really?
The current life. So that also happens.
Oh, okay. So, has you encountered such cases where they want?
I have not so far. So far, I have not. I've heard from some of my colleagues who are, we are all friends all together. So we discuss what's going on your side, what's going on my side. We don't discuss clients. We discuss only issues. So we come to know that this is how they have actually cured, or how I have actually cured somebody or helped them live a better life. So exchange of thoughts definitely helps others also. Right. That's how.
Yeah. So, for our viewers, right? You said this is an ethical boundary, right? You maintain that you don't ask for dates, year, time, and all that. So, what other ethical boundaries do you maintain to give some comfort to the clients who want to go for PLR and maybe they want to contact you so that they get comfortable?
See, this is 100%. We don't disclose any client's name to anybody. That is the first ethics that we maintain. Whatever they discuss about their personal life is not discussed with anybody. Not even with our colleagues who are our friends in this fraternity. We don't discuss that. It is very important to maintain the secrecy of the client. Like I do life coaching also, which is also one-to-one for working professionals. I have a site, manishadda.com. You will not find any referrals or any testimonials from clients. I don't believe in that, because that is something which is very specific to that particular client. And if he or she says something good about me, it remains to me only. It is not for public domain, because at times what happens is, I had faced a problem earlier when I had a testimonial and I showed it to some of my clients. Oh, इसका आपने किया है, इसको तो मैं जानता हूँ. And that's the opening the bottle lid. I cannot disclose client. Then क्या होता है ना, उसकी इमेज, उसकी परसेप्शन बिल्कुल डिफरेंट हो जाती है दूसरे की नज़र में. आपकी लाइफ, आपकी सीक्रेसी है, वो मेरे तक ही रहेगी. इससे आगे वो कहीं नहीं जाएगी. That is the biggest boundary that we can. The other boundary is when we take clients through a session. At times, client feels jittery. Client becomes nervous. At that time, we make them as an observer. We don't push them to go through that trauma again. So we make them an observer during this session. They visualize what is going on. So the trauma effects are not passed on again. They don't go through the trauma again and again. So there is another boundary that we have to take care of when we do PLR session. Very important. Means we have to be sensitive to their senses.
So, when you say that you make clients visualize, they will stand as a third party or an observer and see his own life in front of his eyes, going through the same experiences, and you will not experience anything, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. If the trauma is very, very high intensive for them to bear through, we make them as an observer. Otherwise, in normal circumstances, they go through that session.
Okay. Does that also help to fix whatever issues they have if they are just a WhatsApp?
Definitely. Why not? Why not? Because see, what happens is they go through their death moment also, right? We take them through the death moment also. They see their death. In this entire process, they see their death. of that life. It's a part of the process only. I have to take him to the death, and then only I can heal him. Otherwise, I cannot. Okay. So there's just laid down guidelines which I have to follow, that these are the steps that I have to follow. We follow them religiously because the sole purpose of doing this is to heal somebody, make their life better. I'm only helping them. That's all, nothing beyond that. And yes, the divine is there. His presence is also very important, because when we do these sessions, we call them to bless us for making the session successful. And the gratitude is always there. So we have to thank them also at the end of the session, take permission from them and thank them also that they have healed them properly for their better life. So all those are part of the process only.
So I have also heard that there are some sections in individual's memory where or subconscious where we are not allowed to visit. Maybe will be blocked, or will not be shown as a past life experience. Something. Have you anything like that?
I have not so far. So far, I have not been through. Means, see, when we do a therapy session, we very clearly tell the client that during this session, there are certain images that will come which you do not want to disclose to us. They can very well say that I have seen something which I do not want to disclose. It is perfectly all right with us. We do not ask further any questions. If the client says, no, I will not say, I will not disclose this, perfectly all right. Because it's his or her choice. It's a client's choice how much they want to disclose, how much they do not want to disclose. I cannot force her subconscious mind to tell me. The moment I force, their conscious mind will take over. So the entire process of healing process actually goes for a toss if the conscious mind takes over. So what will happen is I'll have to again redo the entire process which I have done, take him back into trance, the client into trance, and then again reprocess. Say suppose while doing the session, I will ask, Sudeep, tell me what's your bank account? Will you tell me? No. Your conscious mind say, wrong question. Immediately, your conscious mind will come into picture. That is what it is. So, people who think that I can take out something from somebody's subconscious mind, no, it is not. You would also have felt at times that when you see a particular person for the first time, you feel connection with him. Oh, I'm connected to this person. I know this person from a long time. You may not recall the name, you may not recall. But then somewhere down the line, something in your past life had been there with that person, which your current mind has forgotten actually.
So, if I'm just asking maybe a very basic question here. So is there a group therapy also possible for this kind of a scenario? Because why I'm asking this is because let's say the recent plane accident that happened in Ahmedabad, right? Around 240-250 people lost their lives. So some people and some videos I have watched, they are saying that they are related some way karmically or something from their past life, so that they met such a fatal accident in the same way at the same time at the same place. So is this helping?
Yeah, I would say, see, I do not know about that, but to be very frank, I would say like I am talking to you, you got in touch with me, I got in touch with you. It was all karmic only. It was, we were connected through soul somewhere, some at the higher helm or the spiritual world. That's how we got connected. So going by that, definitely they would have some soul connections together. But when we do sessions on a single family, I had a client where I did mother and daughter going through the PLR session separately, not together, because we do not allow third party to be present there when we do session for a particular client. Nobody is allowed to see the session or watch the session or be present there. Even if I'm doing a session with a wife, the husband is not supposed to be there. So that is the secrecy we maintain. And while doing that session with mother and daughter both recited the same incidences, that they were in the some tribal area and they were living together in the same tribe. So yes, somewhere the souls are attached to each other. As I said, that the soul decides in which womb he has to go, in which family he has to be born itself. मैं इसको एक रिलेट करता हूँ ना कि हमारे दादा परदादा, हालांकि मैंने तो अपने दादा परदादा को नहीं देखा है, लेकिन जो सुना है अपने चाचा लोगों से और इनसे कि जब भी शादियां उनके जमाने में होती थी तो वो 7 जनरेशंस का पता करते थे कि कोई डिजीज है कि नहीं है. राइट, द डीएनए पार्ट वी कॉल इट नाउ.
हाँ, अभी भी चलता है, कोई कोई फैमिली में चलता है ट्रेडिशनली.
So that is how this is. They're still connected. I correlate that. Means being logical, I correlate that. So it is very similar to that. So that's how it is. But definitely, yes, if people are born in the same family, I can share my example. I had seen my son and my daughter in my previous life.
And after they were you have seen sons and daughters also in the previous life?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I could see them. Their faces were totally different. My daughter was elder to my son.
Okay, interesting.
And this year it's reverse, actually. Means in the present life, they are reverse.
There's so many interesting, so many interesting things.
Yes, it has happened. Because I was going through one of the sessions with my client, and in one life, she was female. In the next life, she was male. So gender changes happen in soul.
Oh, okay.
And she had financial issues, and the money does not, means whatever she earns actually goes out of her hand. So in a past life, she couldn't recognize actually who he was, but she said that somebody stole something from my hand and went away, ran away. So there's a correlation between why money is not there with you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, very interesting stories.
In the earlier life, the second life, she said that people used to ask money and I used to give them money like this only.
So you can correlate both and see why money is not there in her hand presently.
Yes, and in another, means in the same life, at some stage in her life, she had made promises that I'll pay this much money to you, somebody, in the past life. And that's how it is going out. Means why you have paid promise and you did not pay at that point of time, then this life you have to pay back.
Wow. I mean, somewhere all these things are written. I would like to see that ledger someday. I mean, I don't know how they keep track of all these small things without a computer, AI. I don't know what system they maintain. Such fascinating thing, right?
Yes, it's fascinating. It's fascinating. And the more you do sessions on people, different revelations come to you. And you get astonished by such revelations. Means I personally understand things now better. And probably that has made me much more logical also in terms of understanding that these things do happen. I can't deny that. It's going through those experiences, I cannot deny. The logical mind still says that, oh, ये सब तो होता रहता है लाइफ में.
Right. जो हम लोगों के सामने नहीं हो रहा है उसका मतलब उसका एग्जिस्टेंस ही नहीं है. We feel like that, right? So, but there is so many things which happens we are not even aware, right?
So yes, अल्टीमेटली क्या होता है ना, जब आप लाइफ से बहुत ज़्यादा स्ट्रगल करने लगते हैं, बहुत ज़्यादा चैलेंजेस आने लगती हैं, एंड सी अ रिपीटेड पैटर्न इन टू दैट, तब आपको रियलाइजेशन है कुछ तो गलत है मेरे साथ. वाई डू वी गो टू एस्ट्रोलॉजर्स? टू गेट थिंग्स सॉर्टेड आउट ना. क्या होगा मेरी जिंदगी में आगे, पैसा कमाऊंगा नहीं कमाऊंगा, क्यों मेरे साथ ऐसा हो रहा है, All those questions are there with the astrologers also. They do it astrologically, we do it through past life regression. वो पैटर्न हम लोग देखते हैं, वो पैटर्न खोजने की कोशिश करते हैं कि कहाँ पे वो ब्लॉकेज है सबकॉन्शियस माइंड में, उसी को रिलीज करते हैं, एंड दैट इज हीलिंग पीपल टू अ लार्जर एक्सटेंट, एंड दैट्स हाउ वी से कि अच्छा ठीक है, दिस इज हेल्पिंग समबडी, देन व्हाई नॉट डू इट.
राइट, हम लोग कितना जल्दी, मतलब आफ्टर लिसनिंग टू यू, राइट, one realization that came to me immediately is that we get so judgmental about somebody when things go wrong or things like that, right? So, but there are so many things that people have to go through, maybe not in this life, from previous life and all that. So we do not understand those things. में कुछ भी अगर गलत होता है तो इसका गलती है, उसका गलती है, so much judgmental. So I think these things can help us beyond that to not be so judgmental and try and understand people maybe.
इट डज हेल्प. मीन्स मैं ये लेसन उससे लेता हूँ ना कि जब मैंने जिन लीडर का मैं बात कर रहा था जो कॉर्पोरेट में काम करते हैं, ही बिकमिंग लॉजिकल, लिसनिंग टू पीपल हु डिडंट वांट टू लिसन टू एनीबॉडी एंड यूज्ड टू blow them like anything and abuse people in front of everybody. His change actually made me realize that it can do good things to people and live a better life. So I think if it helps, well and good. We don't promise that we will heal 100% of your issues, because nobody can guarantee 100% healing. But if it happens for the good. So far, as I said, 99% people who have gone through ELR session with me have benefited from in their life. So that gives a inner self confidence also that yes, it does help people. Let's continue this process, and that's how I'm continuing. So I don't take much. In a month, I take somewhere around 25 people a month, not more than that. There's a lot of back-end work has to be done. Then I have my own clients of working professionals whom I take. So time is a constraint for me because I have to work on them. For them, that's my prime source of revenue currently. And this I do it, and we do charge. I do charge for these sessions. Why? Because as a therapist, as a service that I'm giving, I should charge. It should not be given free of cost. That is what has been taught to us. And I stick to that. We do charge money. So I split my charges into two parts. That is pre-session and therapy session. If I find a client can go through PLR session, I will accept. Otherwise, I will say, I cannot do your therapy. This will take a call based on what it is. Like say, there are certain cases where I know that the person had disclosed that he has gone through black magic. I will not take session of those clients. Never. I will straight away. I will not even do the pre-session also with them. If they have given money, I'll return the money back to them.
Okay, is there an age limit for people to do it, or even children can do it?
We say as a process, 14 years and above. But I do not do PLR sessions anybody below 20 years. See, doing PLR session on ages below 40 means above 14 years up to 20 years, I feel largely children are dependent on their parents. So, number one, parent consent is very important. And we only take clients who approach us. Like say, you approach me and you say that, please do PLR on my wife. I will not do at all. That's principally incorrect. So the person who is facing a problem has to state their problem. The third person cannot say or identify the problem of a third person, means person who has to undergo the treatment, therapy. Means you cannot write on behalf of your wife or your children that I need PLR session for her for relationship with me. No. She has to say that she has issues, relationship issues with children. She has relationship with you, issue with her husband. And I want to go through that session. That's how it is. Means the person has to themselves approach us for that PLR session. There are cases when people ask कि आप मुझ पे कीजिए, उनके लिए मेरे ऊपर कर दीजिए. I don't do that. It's principally not agreed, because what happens is I do not know what energy the other person carries, for which the person wants to get it done on herself or himself. The energy gets transferred. So ethically also, this is not correct. Not advisable, not ethically correct. So I don't do that. Means people will say कि उनके behalf पे मैं आप पे कर देता. No, never. And one should not. Because energy travels, and probably heaviness will be more in your body if you do it for somebody else. So not advisable, not ethical. It's beyond ethics. Because at least for me, it is beyond ethics. I know I am not going to do.
Yep, that's good. Ethical practice that you maintain. Thanks for sharing all this. Go ahead, sir. Complete.
For children, it is not advisable. Means there are cases where people approach saying that I want him to go for medical. He doesn't want to go for medical. The child says, I want to do engineering. I don't get into that. I say it is a family issue. Please resolve it. Talk and resolve. That's the only way to do it. Because what happens at times now, when we do it, it's my opinion. I have not handled such clients, so I can't say anything, my experience about how it happens. But it's my opinion that somewhere down the line, if the child becomes starts understanding what their parents think about them and why they want him to become a doctor or whatever they think it is, he becomes compassionate. Will this affect his future life also in the present life? My opinion is yes. So we'll think everything as a compassionate. Means compassionately we will look at everything. Oh, अच्छा ये भी होता है, चलो ठीक है. My opinion says that way. I may be wrong. And God proves me wrong, I'll be happier. That's how I look at it. Means I have not handled any such client, so I can't comment on that. But that's my thought. And so I do not entertain anybody who is below 20 years and who is self-dependent. A self-dependent person is the only person who can take decision on his behalf. So I take that precaution very much, that the person has to be self-dependent so that he can take call on his own. He is not dependent on somebody else. So his decisions are not impacted by anybody else's decision.
Yeah, makes sense. So, sir, as we come to the end of the podcast, last question for you. I would like to end this podcast with the most interesting case that you have handled so far, and how did you heal that person?
Okay. I had a lady who had approached me, and she had multiple issues. Her husband died during the Corona period. She had guilt of not saving him, and she was in complete disarray of her life. Though his in-laws were very supportive, her sons were very supportive to her, but she was not able to manage her life altogether. She thought if somebody could take her to meet the soul of her husband so that she can seek forgiveness from him, that she could not save him, was her actual motive behind approaching me to do a PLR session with her. And I was absolutely confused where to go. She has so much issues. Which one should I take first? Then during the pre-session, she said, I want to organize my life. I'm in a total disarray. I don't know what I am doing, where I am going. I don't know. And I have a business to run. I am not able to concentrate on that. So I said, okay, let's do one thing. We'll only touch base that you want to seek forgiveness from your husband, or if you say, we'll say you want to live a better life on this earth, or because I gave her multiple choices. Finally, we agreed on that she wants to get herself organized. And believe me, it was a revelation to me in a past life when we went. Half the things she visualized, half the things she could not visualize. And I was shocked कि अब आगे क्या करना है मुझे. So because she was giving partial information and partial she was not giving any information at all. Then I took a conscious decision. I started asking multiple questions to her in this session. I asked where you are at present, and that changed the game altogether. And revelations that she made I cannot reveal here, but from the past life I could only say she was totally in a mess in her past life. She never used to listen to anybody. She did what she wanted to do. And she was from a very rich family. And she could visualize that she was in a mahal. And that opened the entire box. Then I simply healed her, came out. And today also she calls me up for consultations and says, you have changed. The first day when I called her back on the next day, said, मनीष जी अच्छा लग रहा है, लेकिन अभी भी बहुत सारे जिंदगी में इश्यूज हैं जो उलझे हुए हैं. मैं बोला मैम आप 21 दिन का टाइम दीजिए, मैं 7 दिन बाद फिर आपको कॉल करूंगा. I called her back on the 7th day. She said, I'm feeling much better. और मैं अपने बिजनेस में इंटरेस्ट लेने लगी. Remarkable change in 7 days. मैं बोला आपका हस्बैंड, तो बोला वो तो मैंने फॉरगिव कर दिया, उन्होंने मुझे फॉरगिव कर दिया था. When we do forgiveness, तो I could see him forgiving me, तो उन्होंने मुझे फॉरगिव कर दिया. मेरा सारा प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो गया. And I'm waiting. This is a recent case. I still not 14 days for her, so another 14 days I'll call her back and take a feedback. So that's a remarkable change. She calls me. Yesterday only she had called कि मनीष जी मुझे इसके बारे में थोड़ा सा बताइए क्या करना है. मैं बोला मैम इसकी जो फीस है वो तो मेरा अलग सेशन है ऑल टुगेदर. वो पास्ट लाइफ रिग्रेशन से नहीं है, वो डिफरेंट है, मेरा कंसल्टेंसी है. तो बोले कैसे मैं आपसे कंसल्टेंसी ले सकती हूँ. मैं बोला मेरे पास अभी बिल्कुल टाइम नहीं है. आई डोंट हैव टाइम क्योंकि माई टाइम्स आर बिजी फ्रॉम 8 p.m. onwards till 11 I'm busy every day. And Fridays and Saturdays I don't do any PLR session. I only do from Monday to Thursday. क्योंकि फ्राइडे एंड सैटरडे मेरे वर्किंग प्रोफेशंस के लिए पूरा टाइम होता है. क्योंकि वो शाम को ऑफिस जाते हैं, घर जाते हैं, तो फिर वो कॉल करते हैं. देन ऑन सैटरडे दे इन द मॉर्निंग टिल इवनिंग, लेट इवनिंग वो कॉल चलता है हमारा. बिकॉज आई हैव टू गिव टाइम टू देम. आई हैव टेकन मनी फ्रॉम देम, सो आई नीड टू गिव टाइम टू देम. दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर मी. और वो पैसे लिए तो उनका काम करना पड़ेगा, उनसे काम करवाना भी पड़ेगा. तो ऑल दोज थिंग्स आर देयर. सो वो एनर्जी उधर जाता फ्राइडे टू सैटरडे. संडेज ओकेजनली किसी ने बहुत रिक्वेस्ट किया तो मैं सेशन लेता हूँ. अदर्स वे संडे आई कीप इट फॉर माई ओन हीलिंग. दैट इज द डे आई हील माई सेल्फ थॉरली, बिकॉज मंडे दी अगेन द जर्नी स्टार्ट्स. क्योंकि जब हम जर्नी करते हैं स्पेशली पास्ट लाइफ में तो बहुत सारी नेगेटिव इमोशंस भी आती हैं. तो वी सील्ड आवरसेल्फ नो डाउट, बट फिर भी कहीं ना कहीं कुछ आ ही जाता है. तो वी हैव टू हील आवरसेल्फ आल्सो. दैट्स हाउ लाइफ इज. दैट वाज द मोस्ट इंटरेस्टिंग पार्ट, क्योंकि मैं लॉस्ट था उनके केस में. मेरे साथ कभी ऐसा नहीं हुआ इतने सेशंस में कि मैं लॉस्ट हो गया हूँ कि क्या करूँ. पहला ऐसा केस था जहाँ पे वो कुछ बताती थी और फिर बिल्कुल ही एकदम दम हो जाती थी, कुछ नहीं बोलना है, एंड क्वेश्चंस पे कोई रिस्पॉन्स नहीं, कुछ नहीं. एंड देन जैसे मैं बिल्कुल ब्लैंक हो गई हूँ. वो दैट इज समथिंग विच हैपेंस एट टाइम्स. मुझे रियलाइजेशन हुआ फर्स्ट टाइम कि ऐसा भी होता है, और कुछ क्वेश्चंस क्लिक कर जाता है जिस पे फिर वो सारा कुछ ओपन हो जाता है. सो पेशेंस इज अनदर थिंग विच एज अ थेरेपिस्ट वी हैव टू हैव. गो थ्रू द एंटायर प्रोसेस, क्योंकि प्रोसेस लेट डाउन है. हम वो प्रोसेस अगर ब्रेक कर देंगे तो सेशन गड़बड़ा जाता है. So that process has to be there. And it does help.
Yep. Wonderful, wonderful session, sir. I mean, thank you so much for the time. Lot of interesting stories and lot of eye openers also for me personally, and I hope for the viewers also. So thank you for giving me time for recording this show. And if this goes well, and if there are subsequent requests, maybe I'll come back to you again for another session too. We'll see.
Sure.
Once again, thank you so much for your time, and it has been really an honor and a pleasure to host you.
Thank you so much, Sadiq. It has been an honor talking to you, and I hope people find it interesting. Means I have whatever knowledge I have in this and whatever experiences I've had, I've tried to share in that people understand what PLR is. Why? Because it is very important for a person to understand what he wants to do in his life and how he can improve his life. That is very important. And with this session, if they go through completely, I think they will have great insights into how PLR is done, what it is. And to add just one thing about PLR, which many people would not know, Dr. Brain is said to be the pioneer in past life regression therapy. In our Indian mythology, Maharshi Patanjali, in his Yoga Sutras, has actually written it, which he calls it, I think, Parti Vasu. He says Parti Vasu. Yes, Parti Vasu. He says, which is again rebirth, reverse rebirth. So that is what he has mentioned. I forgot to mention it in the beginning, so I just wanted to complete this, that Dr. Breeze is considered to be pioneer in this. And in our Indian mythology, it was Maharshi Patanjali who had written about this long time back. I think 2000 BC, I think somewhere he had written. I do not remember the exact dates, but that's where you can search from net and you will get it. Yeah, thank you, Sudeep.
I just love that last part as to how great our Indian tradition is. We have a history of everything, and then it's coming back to us again. So again, thank you so much, sir. Yeah, for
Thank you for the time. Yeah, thank you so much for being with me and being patient, hearing me, because I've been only speaking largely.
No, it was very interesting. I learned a lot of things, and I'm very interested in this kind of things. So thank you for sharing all your knowledge and expertise here.
Thank you so much being my host and hosting me on your podcast. I am honored. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.